The best millimeter is 10mm. I think we all need to put our hands together and give a sincere thanks to the engineers and everyone at CMMG for making, at least for me, one of my biggest dreams a reality. This is a subgun chambered in the venerable, imposing, authoritative, potent, and all-powerful round 10mm. But in all seriousness, 10mm can pack some serious punch. The most powerful loadings are more powerful than 357 Magnum and just slightly less powerful than 41 Magnum. I actually found this really well done and informative diagram or PowerPoint that accurately demonstrates 10mm power in comparison to some other handgun cartridges. Let's just put it this way, 10mm is so hot that someone needs to let AOC know that it's the real cause of global warming. So what exactly does all that mean? Well, basically 10mm pushes a fairly large bullet rather quickly, giving it advantages of fast, flat-shooting bullets, as well as having more kinetic energy than really large bullets like 45 ACP. How flat shooting? Here's some shots at 300 yards, and that's really not a big deal with the CMMG Banshee MK10. How powerful? 10mm is one of the few semi-automatic rimless cartridges that is legal for hunting white-tailed deer in many US states. It's also the only round that I can think of that was ever taken out of service because it was too powerful. Right now you're probably thinking, well, that's all well and good, but why aren't there a bunch of subguns chambered in it? Because it is extremely difficult to do reliably. You see, there's a wide power factor in 10mm. Not all the loadings are super powerful. Some are barely more powerful than 40 short and weak, the round that replaced 10mm at the FBI. This wide variation of power factor means that you have to have a very specialized system that will allow for some rounds to be really hot and some rounds not so much. In steps CMMG's Radial delayed blowback. When I first saw Radial delayed blowback, I knew it would be able to be adapted to 10mm because it works with a similar principle to the MP5's roller delayed blowback. And for those that don't know, the MP5 was chambered in 10mm. Let's talk about ergonomics for a second, and the CMMG MK10 will have all the great ergos carry over from all the other guns in the Banshee series. You'll have the really impressive rip brace or stock, depending on which model you get. You'll have the very nice oversized mag release, great M-LOK handguard, and depending on the series, you'll also be able to get the awesome CMMG charging handle. But here's one of the most amazing things about the MK10. It is the most adaptable 10mm subgun ever, because let's say you don't like a particular feature that comes on your MK10, because it is on the AR platform, you literally have thousands of options to change out the grip, trigger, and stock or brace. We ran well over 1,000 rounds through this Banshee with a wide variety of 10mm ammo, suppressed and unsuppressed, and it functioned flawlessly. Now, to help overcome the wide differences in power of the various 10mm ammo, the Banshee MK10 comes with 2 buffers and a formula to determine the power factor of the ammo you are using and which buffer to use with it. We all don't math very well here in Alabama, so I just used the buffer that came installed in the MK10 and it ran flawlessly with all the ammo we tried, and we did get some really hot buffalo bore through it just to make sure it could handle it. The only time we changed the buffer was when we switched to suppressed, and there is a third buffer available to be used when suppressed. With that buffer installed, it ran great with the Dead Air Ghost and sounded really good too. Another thing the masterminds at CMMG did is pretty much completely remove all the recoil from the 10mm round. If you shot 10mm before, you know that it has kind of a little thump to it. Nothing you can't handle, but just enough to let you know you're shooting something with a little more power. Well, the Banshee Mark 10 has surprisingly little recoil and allows you to quickly and easily get off accurate follow-up shots. The accuracy CMMG is known for, combined with the power of the 10mm round, was everything that I was hoping it would be. 200-yard shots with the Mark 10 were so easy that we had to move right out to 300, and even the 300-yard shots weren't any big issue for the Mark 10. This is such an awesome package to have a gun this compact, capable of delivering a good sized bullet accurately out to significant ranges. I could actually see a lot of people using the Mark 10 for deer or hog hunting. Another thing that's really cool is it takes readily available and affordable Glock mags. But what I didn't know is that SGM Tactical is making these one-piece streamlined 30-round Glock mags in 10mm. In the Free States, one of these will ship with your gun. I picked up some more from Mag Shack to keep the party going longer. These mags will of course work in your Glock 40, your Glock 20, or your Glock 29 if you happen to own that little fire breather. These things work amazingly well and aren't as big and clunky as the two-piece Vector extensions, but those also work well for us. I'm so glad to see someone finally make these magazines. At least for me, it feels like it has been a really long time coming. I had to send this Mark 10 back to CMMG, and on that day, I shed a tear. It was as if I lost a dear friend. But I will be getting my own because I need this gun like I need oxygen or like a fish needs water. This is a 10mm sub gun that works extremely well, takes Glock mags, has great ergonomics, and is not so expensive that you have to put a second mortgage on the house just to get one. I know some of you may not quite grasp what you're looking at, but this is a big deal. This thing is like some kind of anomaly in the space-time continuum. I'd been hoping for one of these for so long, I really just never thought it would happen. Those of us who do understand the amazing accomplishment the CMMG has achieved are probably already trying to figure out how we can get our hands on one. Those guys who don't get it, trust me, you need this. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. We got some really big reviews coming up that you won't want to miss. Want to know what we're reviewing way before it hits the YouTube channel? Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. There you can see what's being reviewed in real time. If you want to help support Alabama Arsenal, the best possible way to do that is on Patreon. These videos are surprisingly expensive to make, and every little bit helps and is greatly appreciated. There is also gear available right below the video if you want to go out and represent. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching.